Okay, for those of you that have been subscribed to me for a while on YouTube, you guys know that it's not too often that I pull the race card. I just don't feel in most cases the race card is necessary. But just some things I happen to notice since this whole COVID ordeal. And since it came out in the media that black people were more susceptible to getting COVID 19. So, because of the fact that the media put out there, what they call medical science put out, that black people were more prone to get COVID and that the rate of black people getting COVID was quite high, that left room open for hidden racism. This is another way for certain white people to target black people. Now, this is something I've been noticing for several weeks now. There's certain places that I can enter into. Like, say, for example, I could be at the casino. And of course, they have their little guidelines. You know, you wear a mask, social distancing, all that nonsense. Use hand sanitizer, which in most cases, people don't social distance because people are side by side at another machine, if you like slots. So, but one thing I noticed that the only people they tend to target are black people. Now, you know, a lot of white people, I see a lot of white people doing this too. Like when they put their mask on, they don't like to cover their nose because it restricts their breathing, right? So I usually do that, right? But I noticed that they'll target me and like, could you pull that up? Pull that up for me. Could you pull that up? Right? I don't like that. Because first of all, I got the mask. As long as I got this mask around my face, you shouldn't worry. And as long as you are wearing your mask, you shouldn't be worried about what I'm doing, right? So I had to stop. Of course, I had to challenge a couple of the workers there, right? Which they really had no valid answers, right? I knew that from the very beginning, right? But they were like, you know, pull it over. They make sure that they target certain black people. Now, I've seen some workers at the same place. Either their mask was down, they had their mask like I wear my mask, right? And they don't say nothing. Like today, I just left. And there was a worker behind the bakery that she had a long nose, and that long nose was just out. And and my family member that I was with, I looked at, I said, look at that woman's mask right there. Because all day you had some of the workers walking up to black people. I've never seen them walk up to a white person and say it, you know, because right after they finished telling me, oh, could you put that up? They went over to some black women that was at a machine. There was a group of black women, and the guy went over there and tapped the women on their shoulder and says, oh, could you put your mask up a little bit, right? And then I looked right maybe 2 seats down, and there was a white woman that had her mask down, and the dude walked right by this woman, and didn't say a word. Something like, okay, I wonder if black people are targeted because of what the media put out there regarding black people getting COVID, okay, and how like a certain number of black people were getting COVID-19 versus white people. And I mentioned that in videos of the past, man, like where they're always targeting black people, you know? It's like black people, the highest rate of high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, HIV, now COVID-19, and now you have white people that's undercover targeting black people. I don't see them going to white people saying that, you know. Today alone, I seen them walk up to about 4 black people, me included, saying, could you put your mask up? Whereas I'm watching white people with either their mask down. Yesterday, I was in Costco's, and I'm coming out of Costco's. Now, I'm walking around. I did my shopping. I'm coming out, And while in Costco, I seen white people with their masks down. Some white people didn't have the mask on. Some of them was wearing it like I wear my mask, right? I'm coming out of I'm coming out of Costco's, and the woman that checked the receipt, she took the receipt, looked at all the packages, said, "Oh, could you pull that up?" Now I'm walking out now, and she's gonna, "Could you pull that up?" So I'm like looking right over. Right next to her was a worker that had no mask on at all. So I'm like looking like, what about the dude over there? I ain't say nothing. I was gonna say it, but I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm leaving, so I'm not gonna say it because usually I challenge people, right? But I'm looking, and the minute she said that to me, I looked over at that Asian dude that was sitting on a cart. He was a worker, and he didn't have no mask on at all, not at all. And she never said not one word to that dude. And I was leaving Costco's, and I looked at her, took my receipt, and just walked out. Ignored her, right? So, that being said, has anybody else noticed that? And could there be some hidden racism when it comes to wearing these masks? Could it be that black people are targeted more because of what the media put out there, saying that black people are more prone to have it than white people, or at a higher rate than white people? How did COVID-19 become a black disease? To the point where they had to shut down the whole country. Makes no sense to me. So has anybody else had that experience? They make sure that you have yours on. And I stopped and asked them, like, let me ask you a question. I said, what benefit is it going to have you for me to wear my mask? I said, as long as I got the mask, he's like, well, because of droplets from the mouth or people talking and spraying, it's to protect other people, not so much as you. Okay, well, it's covering my mouth. Well, you may have like nasal drip, and I'm looking at him like, do it look like my nose is dripping to you? Is my nose dripping? My nose there ain't no sign of dripping. I can understand if you saw now I've seen some white people, they had dripping nose. They had that little piece of drip right on the tip of their nose, and they sitting there and they ain't even touching it. At least black people be going, they be using their sleeve or whatever. I ain't seen no white person wipe that drip off their nose, and they had a mask on, right? So, is there some like hidden racism when it comes to these masks and they targeting black people? And I noticed another thing too before I end. The one like the white lady, older white, and I know this is usually the white women, the older white women that's doing this. This woman, she had her face covered up, right? And I had mine down, right? So I'm talking to her, and I don't like talking in that mask because you be mumbling. Like, could you repeat that again? So what'd you say? Could you like take the mask off and talk to me? Right? So I'm talking to this woman. So each time, and I noticed this, and then I started doing it on purpose. When I talk to her, I usually pull the mask down. Now, the woman got her mask on, right? I pulled it down. The woman backed up, right? And I looked, I'm like, oh, okay. And I put the mask on, and she came up, right? And then it's like, okay, and I'm talking to her, and I went to say something again. I took the mask down, and she backed up. And I put the mask on, and she came back up. So this woman kept backing up. Now, she had a mask on. She was protected, which we know that these masks don't protect you. They don't prevent you from getting COVID. It's no more than a straw man. It's a placebo to make you feel good, because there's a lot of fearful people like this woman out there, right? So it makes you feel better, right? But every time I went to talk to the woman, she back up. Like I had a disease. She like, I ain't trying to get no COVID from this black man, because I listen to the news too. And the news say that black people get COVID more than white people. And I put the mask on, and then I started playing with her. I don't even think she realized I was testing her and playing with her, right? So I put the mask back up, and she'll come back up. and talk to me normal, right? And then I like pull the mask down, talk to her, she back up, right? Now she got a mask, she's cut, she is protected, right? And it's like every time I put the mask on, she'll walk back up to me. So listen, if y'all want to get rid of, if somebody's standing too close to you, especially a white person, if they standing too close to you, just cough. you will see them run, right? Or take your mask down, and they'll get away from you because we heard about you guys on the news, and black people get COVID before white people get it, right? So listen, have y'all had that experience? Have you noticed that the people that's usually targeted are black people? And I wonder if on the low, if they're told like, look, you make sure them black folk, because they rebels, man. Make sure that they keep that mask up, man, because we don't want no COVID. Because you heard what science said, right? Science said that, black people are more prone to get it. So we don't want no COVID, right? So whenever a black person comes, they take their mask down, you back up. Get far away from them, right? So listen, feedback and tell me what y'all think. Have you guys noticed that? Until next time, I'm fearless.